I was reading it somewhere that 94%, more than 94% of Canadians, they buy something online at least once a month.
So when I talk to small business owners, I always say, you don't have to be everywhere. Being everywhere is a very big challenge, to be on every digital channel and every social media platform. Don't feel the pressure to be everywhere, but rather, where can you strike where the iron is hot?
Dear listeners, the digital world is a treasure trove of opportunities, waiting to be unlocked by those willing to adapt and learn. Whether it's leveraging the latest technology, understanding trends, or connecting with your audience in a meaningful way, the key is staying informed and proactive.
And tactics without strategy is not how you're going to get there. And you also need to understand how to sell your product. Right? A lot of times these days, entrepreneurs may sell something, but what they don't realize is what they're actually selling is the meaning and story behind it.
Mutual respect, open communication, and a clear vision can transform a workplace into a community. Remember, your culture's strength is reflected in your team's strength. Invest in your people. Watch your business flourish. Welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. I am your host, Kripa Anand. Today, we are diving into the world of digital marketing and exploring its vital role in helping small businesses thrive. Our guest today is Robert Burko, the CEO of Elite Digital, one of Canada's top digital marketing agencies. With over 2 decades of expertise, Robert has led his agency from a one-man operation to a nationally recognized firm, working with major brands and leading digital transformation for businesses of all sizes. So let's dive right in. Robert, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you having me.
It's our pleasure. So to begin with, what is digital marketing according to you, and how important is storytelling in all of this?
Absolutely. So great question. What is digital marketing? And it's a big term, right? Because the way I define it, I've been doing this for a very long time, is it's really anything you're seeing on a screen. So if you think about traditional marketing, think about your TV, your radio, your print, that's traditional. And then you have digital. So anytime you're on a website, anytime you're looking at an email or a text message or all of the social media channels, that's all digital. And it's really an all-encompassing term. And I still go into meetings where people are like, what are we doing for digital? And that's a big topic, but it's hugely important because if you think about today's business owner and how are they going to achieve their results and how are they going to engage with their consumers and their customers, it's all going to be digital. We know that. We know that Canada is online all the time. That's a key thing in our country. Canadians love the internet. We are over-indexed on e-commerce. We absolutely know this. So when you're sitting there as a business owner saying, I wonder if my customers are on the internet, the answer is yes. I wonder if my customers are on social media. The answer is also yes. And this makes it an incredibly important channel that you can't have it as an afterthought. I've been doing this for a very long time. I started my company, Elite Digital, when I was in high school, 21 years ago. So I have seen digital transformation in the biggest way. I saw what COVID did for the digital transformation, but gone are the days where digital is an afterthought. You can't be thinking, I'm going to do some marketing and then maybe I'll sprinkle in digital. Digital should be the first part of your strategy. That's where you want to begin. And especially as a small business owner, that's where you could really sort of level the playing field. You probably can't do a big broadcast campaign, but you could definitely buy ads on Google. You could definitely make a splash on social media. So digital in the all-encompassing way is so important in every marketer's toolbox.
That's so true. I was reading it somewhere that 94%, more than 94% of Canadians, they buy something online at least once a month. So if with that statistics, I think all the businesses who are into digital marketing, and that is a lot now, they have a great chance of succeeding, but only if they hit the right demographics. So what tools do you think small business owners or people who have just started up should keep in their mind to access digital marketing?
Yeah, so we know Canadians are buying online. And while that may be true, I have 3 kids at home and I could say in the Burko house, something is probably bought online every day. Even as I'm here talking to you, I bet I'm getting an Amazon confirmation email in my inbox because my kids don't stop. But we know that's happening and that creates opportunity. But you have to be there. You have to be in the game and you have to understand who is your target audience. right? Should you be on TikTok? There's a demographic on TikTok. Should you be on Facebook? There's a demographic on Facebook. On Reddit, on Google search, are you on Bing? All of these platforms are in your toolbox. But as a marketer, and especially if you're a small business marketer and you don't have an unlimited budget, right. And I rarely talk to someone who says, I have an unlimited budget.
And especially small businesses.
Especially small businesses. Yeah. So you have a limited budget and you have to maximize it. So when I talk to small business owners, I always say, you don't have to be everywhere. Being everywhere is a very big challenge, to be on every digital channel and every social media platform. Don't feel the pressure to be everywhere, but rather, where can you strike where the iron is hot? How can you be laser focused and say, I'm going to be on Instagram or I'm going to be on Google search for these keywords? Because if you focus on where you're going to have the highest chance of success, you're going to maximize your results. So when I see people who say, oh, we're active on Instagram and X or Twitter and LinkedIn and Bing and Google, and I say, great, what's the advantage of being everywhere? Or have you just taken your limited budget, spread it far too thin, and now you're sort of all things to all people, all being nothing to no one, which doesn't really hit the nail on the head. So I often tell marketers, before you even start doing any of the tactics, sit back and ask the question, who are my customers? Do a buyer persona exercise. Really crystallize it. You know, here's Sally. She's my customer. Tell me everything about Sally, right? What does she do? What's her motivating factors? Here's Nick, another customer of mine. Tell me everything about him. And the reason you want to start by understanding your customer is because then you know where to go to find them. Otherwise, you're sort of traversing this digital landscape blindly, hoping maybe I'll run into my customers. And I don't want to be spending your marketing budget on a maybe. I want to know we understand who the customer is. We understand what their motivating factors are that are going to make them buy. And once we know all of that, we know where to find them. We know what they're searching for on Google. We know what social media platforms they're using. We know what hashtags they're using. Once you go hunting and you know who you're looking for, you're going to have far better results.
Right. So going into the minute details is the key, right?
Absolutely. I've seen people do, broad strokes, and, I'll talk to whether it's my students or other businesses, oh, have you done a buyer persona exercise? Right. Oh, of course we have. Sally's a female, age 18 to 24 who lives in Canada. Well, that's a terrible buyer persona, right? That is so generically high level that you're sort of doing the spray and pray approach. I'm just going to cast the net and hope I get the right fish in there. That doesn't make sense. Dig deeper. Challenge yourself to dig deeper. What are the motivating factors? What excites them? What are they afraid of? Why would they buy your product? Right. Why wouldn't they buy your product? What competitors have they bought from? Ask a million questions, because the only person who wins from asking those questions is that marketer or small business owner, because the answer to every one of those questions goes you from casting a very wide net to being laser focused. Right. And the more you're laser focused, the more you're going to maximize your results, get the highest return on your ad spend. And then as you get that revenue, guess what? You can now cast a wider net. But the entrepreneurs that start trying to be like just everyone to like all over the place to everyone, it doesn't work, and they waste a lot of money learning this very important lesson.
I think that's a very powerful thing that you said, and it's a very simple thing that a lot of people don't really follow or take it for granted. But if you focus on the simplest of things, I think it makes the biggest of differences. What are some of the trends that you have seen in the last year, or if you're expecting in the coming year, in digital marketing, especially for small businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So digital marketing is always moving. It is always changing. It's one of the reasons I love it is, having done this now for 21 years, I'm still learning, and I'm never going to stop learning, and it's never going to stop evolving, which is so exciting. But in order to stay on top of the trends, I sort of look at the macro level trends. And the biggest thing I would say is happening now is personalization, right? Or personalization at scale. Right. So gone are the days of spray and pray. So, back when I started doing this, it used to be companies would send a newsletter on the first of the month to their entire mailing list. And I would say, oh, everybody on your mailing list is exactly the same. They're all the same type of person with the same motivating factors. And then they look at me like, no, they're not. And I go, well, then why are you treating them that way? Right? Why are you sending one email to everybody? You have to segment your list. You have to ask those questions and say, who are existing customers, really old customers, new potential customers, West Coast, East Coast, by gender, demographic, by interest, whatever the case may be. I've worked with a sports retail company who used to send out emails that would have all the teams jumbled together. A Leafs fan is never going to be buying Habs merchandise. A Habs fan is never going to buy Leafs merchandise. We know this. So you're wasting real estate in your email. So by understanding personalization, you get better results. And the marquee example of this is Amazon. Right. When you go to Amazon, the homepage has products you're interested in buying. I have 3 kids at home. When I go to Amazon, it's like, here's what we think Rob is going to buy. And if Amazon showed us the same website, they would sell less to everybody.
Right.
So they know putting the right thing in front of customers leads to better results. But as a small business marketer, it's the same thing. If you're sitting there listening to this saying, I have one version of my ad out on digital media right now, that one ad is going to resonate with absolutely everybody, there's no way. So now you're spending money to run that ad, and the ad itself is the problem. Right. So you have to take a step back and say, if I want to personalize this, if I want to show you in the ad, if I want to flex on the motivating factors that are going to mobilize you to buy the product, how do I do that? And when you start to think about personalization across everything, your emails, your ads that you're running, your social media posts, the way you speak on different social media platforms, once you get to the level of actually having a message that resonates with your audience, you see the results. Right. So I always tell everybody, it's right message, right person, right time, right place. And if you hit those ingredients, any small business owner is going to see tremendous results. Otherwise, they're going to spend a lot of time and money to learn that lesson.
Wow, I think you can draw a lot of parallels between your customers and your kids as well. Now, each one of your kids, they're different, right? They need different attention. They run by different emotions. And I think similar goes for customers as well, right? They are not all emotional, or they're not all, there's so many different emotions, and each emotion hits each one of us differently, right? I might be more emotional than you. You might be more confident than me, right? It's different for everyone. How important do you think being competitive is for small businesses in today's time? And how do you think digital marketing plays a role in this?
Yeah, so I think it's super important. And you're right. I mean, much like my kids, when I try to plan a family activity and I have to have one activity that appeals to everyone, it's a challenge, right? Because they're all different. My daughter, who's 12 going on 18, she has certain interests that are different than my sons, James and Link. They want to play video games and Fortnite, and my daughter doesn't. So we have to personalize that experience. And as parents, we know we have to do that with our children. I rarely talk to a parent who says every child I have is exactly the same. It's exciting that they're all different, right? And customers are the same thing. They need different attention, and they have different motivating factors, right? And once you understand that, it's very important. But to answer your question, in order to stay competitive, I think you really have to understand what makes you special. So competition is intense these days. It is hard to create a new business that is a novel thing that's never been done before. It could happen, it exists, but to say I have an idea that's never been done before is challenging. So chances are what you're doing, someone else does. So I tell every small business owner, what's your unique value proposition, right? Alternatively stated, what makes you special? Why you and why not the other person?
Your USP, unique selling.
Your unique selling proposition, right? What makes you special? And if a small business owner can't succinctly tell me, here is what makes me special, here's why you should buy from me and not the other guy, then they should stop what they're doing right away, figure that out before they continue. Because the way to be competitive is to be able to say, I am the best at this. I'm going to give you the best value on this. It's the best service. It's the best product. It solves your needs in the best way. But until you understand what that is, you don't even know where to flex. You don't even know what to lean on. So you have to start with that, because if you say, my business is pretty average at a lot of things, customers aren't going to come flocking and go, oh, I heard there's a great new average restaurant that we can go to, right? No one wants average. People are going to spend their hard-earned money on things that they perceive to be
extraordinary,
right? Absolutely. So don't be average at 10 things. Be really great at one thing. And once you do that, you can be really great at a second thing, and you can grow from there. But especially when I talk to people who are in the startup phase, unless they could tell me, what are you the best at? I tell them, go back to the drawing board, figure that out, because that's going to be your pathway to success, because you're going to have a tough time trying to convince people that average is what they should be accepting.
Right. That's a great insight. Dear listeners, the digital world is a treasure trove of opportunities waiting to be unlocked by those willing to adapt and learn. Whether it's leveraging the latest technology, understanding trends, or connecting with your audience in a meaningful way, the key is staying informed and proactive. By tuning in today, you've already taken a vital step towards discovering strategies that work. Remember, success in the digital age is not about luck, but about preparation and action. Now, Robert, let's go through your entrepreneur journey. How did it start? Did you always want to know what you wanted to become? Like,
I still don't know what I want to become. So my journey is interesting. So I founded the company Elite Digital. We're a digital marketing agency based out of Toronto,
right.
Probably the biggest digital first agency in the country today, which is exciting. But the origin story starts long ago.
Right.
So in high school, I started this company. So I started this company now 21 years ago.
In high school?
In high school. So
Wow.
I was high school student by day, entrepreneur by night, very challenging to do. But I started this company because entrepreneurship's always been in my family. My father was an entrepreneur. He's one of the guys I've always looked up to and learned from. So I knew I had sort of the entrepreneurial spirit in my veins. And then keep in mind, we're flashing back now almost 2 decades. The internet was pretty new, right? Things were new. So I knew I had a passion for technology, right, and I knew I had a passion for entrepreneurship. And I said, well, what if I put these 2 things in a blender and let's see what happens?
Wow.
And I started working on this company, and I didn't have any outside funding, which made it tricky because any skill that I needed, whereas I wish, like today, I'll be like, I'll go out and hire someone with that skill. I had no money at the time.
Right.
So any skill that I needed, I had to learn. So I had to learn programming. I had to learn graphic design. I had to learn SEO. I had to learn accounting. I had to learn all these things. Now, at the time, that was intense. Fast forward to today, and the fact that I know enough to be dangerous that I could talk to all of my different departments in a language they understand and they could appreciate. Not that I'm nearly as talented as them, because I am a lucky guy to have amazing people around me. But I know just enough to be dangerous.
You acquired all those things when no one even knew what was going around, right? They were not the buzzwords at that time when you did it.
Absolutely. So I created Canada's first cloud-based email marketing software. It wasn't even called the cloud back then.
No.
But I created that, and suddenly I created this new thing in Canada that didn't really exist at the time, and that propelled us forward, and we were growing and growing and growing. And then an interesting thing happened. We kept getting calls from customers saying, I love what you're doing with my email. Can you do my website? And we said, no. We just do email. And we get a call, can you help me with my search marketing? No, we just do email. And then one day I woke up and I said, what if instead of saying no, we said yes? What if we embrace that? Okay. Right. And people would call us and say, can you do this? And we would start to say, yes, we can. Now, admittedly, sometimes that got us in trouble. I'd say, okay, team, we're doing this and we've never done it before, but it's only your first time doing it the first time. Right. So we learned a lot. And we got better and better over time. So we started saying yes, and gradually we morphed into this digital marketing agency that suddenly was able to do all these things. So when a customer comes to us and says, not here's what I want you to do, but we start the conversation with what are your goals? Right. And once we understand what your goals are, then we could say, here's what you absolutely need. So over my entrepreneurial journey, we've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, better and better and better. We got really lucky with really great clients. I've had the pleasure of working with really great staff. Mm. And what I've learned over the years is if you do really great work, people want to work with you.
Yes.
So our best source of business is people who work with us. They tell their friends, you have to work with Elite. You have to call Rob. These guys are great.
Word of mouth.
Someone moves from one company to another. You have to work with these guys. So the fact that we take a lot of pride in our work, we really focus on the quality. We really have the best people and the best talent. That's always been our calling card of when you work with Elite Digital, you know you're getting the real deal and real goods. So because we leaned in hard on being the best at that, over my entrepreneurial journey, we've been very lucky at not being like everybody else, but trying to be a cut above. And then as we keep our eye out for new opportunities, we've expanded into new markets and new industries. And from that company that I started in my parents' basement, goofy teenage Rob, didn't even know what the heck he was doing. And wow, at the time, the teenage Rob, he thought he knew everything. Right. Present day Rob knows that kid knew nothing. And I think you learn that with age. Yeah. But fast forward to today, and it's been quite the journey from that kid in the parents' basement to now running Canada's biggest digital first agency.
Wow, your journey has truly been commendable, I would say. And for a student in a high school to even think of something like that, I don't think everyone does that. And for you to be able to do that and to execute it so beautifully, I think it takes a lot of guts, a lot of effort, and a lot of commitment. And kudos to you for that.
Thank you. I will say it took a lot of late nights because imagine student by day. Okay, there's a party at night. I don't want to miss out. I'm still going to go to that party. Ain't no way I'm missing out. But between school ending and going to that party, I'm going to go a little late and I'm going to work. So it was real challenging. But I think I learned a lot, and my family really supported me. So I was surrounded by a lot of encouragement, which was really great. I don't want to say it was easy. I don't think any of this is easy. But it was definitely, it's been an awesome adventure. Every day is an adventure.
But you never stopped having fun alongside with it, right?
I will tell you. So now, having done this now for over 2 decades, I love it as much today as I did then. And the game has changed, But I love it. I love the challenge. I love that I get to work with different people, whether it's my team or different clients.
Right.
I get to work across different industries. So even today, I was helping a pharma company. I was helping an academic institution. I was helping a big CPG company. Like, I did so many things, and that was just today. And that's so fun because I'm always learning and I feel like I'm always growing. And that's a key value we have at our company. And I think the fact that that's sort of our idea of always be learning, always be pushing yourself. And we get to constantly hear from clients who give us a new challenge.
Right.
And we say, great, challenge accepted. Here's how we're going to go about solving it. Makes this a game that I don't think it's ever going to stop being fun.
Right. And I think this kind of field, it requires you to be on your toes all the time, right? And in a good way. If you're on your toes all the time, it keeps you active. It keeps you relevant. Relevant is the new buzzword.
It is.
Speaking of relevant, what do you do to stay relevant? Or do you do
what do I? So yeah. I honestly, I think it's about, I never stop learning. I mean, I'm gonna focus on that. I think as an entrepreneur, the moment you think you've achieved greatness, you're falling, like you're going to slip.
Downfall has started.
I always tell people, if we're standing still, we're falling behind. So no matter what we do, we are always learning. We are always improving. And my team knows that. We could do 9 out of 10 things incredibly well. And you know what I focus on? The one thing we didn't do well, because I want to get better. And if we get better, I want to get better still. And I think that idea of never accepting the status quo is really important, because there's always there's some other kid in his parents' basement who's eager to do what I did and take over what I built. And I understand it and I respect it and I encourage that.
Right.
But I want to make sure we stay relevant by always moving forward. We have to be doing that. And because the industry is moving forward, we have to be relevant. Our clients count on us not to tell them what they should have been doing last year, but to tell them what they should be doing next year.
Right.
So we have to stay relevant. And that means I have to be learning. And because I love learning, I'm always doing that. We do, with my kids, I mentioned I have kids, every night we do something at dinner called Roses, Buds, and Thorns. I won't say every night when I could possibly do this, because they'll fact check me.
What is that? I'm very interested.
So Roses, Buds, and Thorns, we go around the table with each of my kids, and the rose is your highlight of the day. The thorn is your low light, and the bud is what you learned.
I'm telling you right now, your kids won't need therapy.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Either way, I love it. And it's a great anchor for our family, because we talk about it out in the open, and it's, what was the highlight? Great, amazing, I love that. What was the low light? It's important we embrace that. But what did you learn? And the fact that I'm part of that, it's not a thing that kids do. It goes around the table, and my wife will say what she learned, and I will say what I learned. The fact that we're all talking about that creates this ongoing quest to learn something, because all day I know I have to go home from this interview and I'm going to have to say, what did I learn today? Right. So I think that in sort of instilling that value of learning and growth, really, to answer your question, is how you drive relevance, because I think the moment you stop learning, you become irrelevant because you start to fall behind. Right.
In this beautiful journey of yours, I'm sure you might have come across some challenges as well, right? Or some lessons that you've learned already years back. Would you like to share them with the new listeners or the new people who are just starting out right now?
Yeah, you can't even say some challenges.
A lot
endless
of them.
Challenges.
Right.
Endless. Nothing is easy. And if I ever meet an entrepreneur who says it was easy, I want to hear their story. So I will tell every entrepreneur out there who is currently struggling or feeling beat up, I always tell everybody, if it was easy, everybody would do it. Right. There is a reason not everybody does it. It is hard. It is challenging. There are long days. There are tiring days. There are moments of feeling when you won't be able to do it. And I think, 2 key things is, one, long ago, I established with myself that giving up was not an option. Just simply flat out not an option. Right. No matter how frustrated I got, no matter how much I was looking at the scenario going, oh my God, this is a mountain I'll never be able to climb.
Keep going.
Keep going. Giving up was not an option, because I think if giving up is an option, then in the back of your mind, you always know you have an escape hatch. Yes. You always know you can jettison out and run.
Plan.
You have a second plan. Yeah. So I always treated it like, never give up, never surrender. I'm never going to stop. Failure's not an option. I'm going to keep going. And I think that reframes your mind to, you could face any challenge because you have no choice but to face the challenge. But the other most important thing I would say is the recognition that everything is a learning opportunity. Right. I have been doing this for so long. I have an endless list of failures and things that didn't go the way I wanted. An endless list. Right. A long list. I have to be here for days to explain all the times I stumbled and failed. But when I would fail, and I remember my father would always say this, it's not a failure, it's a learning opportunity. So yes, it didn't go the way you wanted, but what did you do? What was the outcome? How could you be better? What did you learn? And if every failure is a learning opportunity, then it's not a failure. It makes you better for the next opportunity. It makes you better for the next thing. So when I think about all my years doing this, and I think about my never-ending list of mistakes, but I think about me being the product of learning from all of those mistakes. I feel like it's gotten to me to where I am today. And even when I'm talking to my younger staff and I see them being upset that they made a mistake, I say, that's okay. You're early in your career. You're supposed to make these mistakes now. So later in your career, you can draw on that experience.
Right.
And later when you're teaching someone, you'll tell them how you learn from these mistakes. So I think as an entrepreneur who's bound to make mistakes, if you know those aren't failures, but they're learning opportunities, it reframes the way you feel about it.
You're not afraid of them anymore, right?
No, bring it on. I still stumble and fall today, and I do the same exercise I do today is what I've been doing for years and years, which is what did we learn and how can we be better? And I never want to stop doing that because when I think 20 years into the future, I'm hoping by virtue of all the new mistakes I've made and all the new learnings I've got, I'm going to be even better 20 years from now because I'm never going to stop learning from those mistakes.
You know what I've observed about you? There's a consistency in your thought process, in the way you think. Were you like this from the beginning, or was it some change? Were you inspired by someone growing up? How was it?
I mean, I think I've been pretty consistent. I mean, I think if you were to ask my friends, they'd say I've been pretty consistent over the years.
Right.
A little older now. My back hurts a little more now. But other than that, I think I've been pretty consistent. And I think it's that I have a passion for what I do. Right. I love it. I love working with people. I love the next big challenge. I don't want an easy challenge. I want a hard challenge. So I think that passion and love for what I do makes it easy for me to keep going. I'm excited to get out of bed in the morning. I'm excited to see what comes next. So I think as any entrepreneur, if you don't truly love what you're doing, I think it's going to be a problem. I don't look at my job and say, oh my God, I got to go to work. I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to see the people. I can't wait to see what comes next. Good news, bad news, whatever it is. I love the journey that I'm on. And I think it's been pretty consistent. I think with age, I've gotten a little bit better perspective of, again, young Rob thought he knew everything. If I could go back and talk to that guy, I'd be like shaking him saying, you actually know nothing and you should talk to more people and seek more advice. But I think it's been pretty consistent. And I will say growing up, my father was a huge role model. My mother was a huge role model. I've also been with my wife. I met her when I was 16. I've been with her this entire time. So she's a huge positive influence on me. She's always pushing me to be better. So I think I've been very fortunate to have this support structure around me that is not only encouraging, loving, and nurturing, but also pushing me to be the best version of myself that I can be. And I think that constant pushing has led to some pretty exciting outcomes.
I think it's also about the kind of people that you attract in your life. So it must be something inside of you that attracted all the right people in your life and it just worked out.
I hope so. I mean, I love my friends. I love my family. I love my coworkers. Like, I'm a really lucky guy. I get to choose who I work with. And we have a dream team. Like the fact that I'm the luckiest guy, when I go to work and I look at all the people at Elite Digital and all the people that work, it is crazy to have built a company. And it's the company I always wanted, but to have built a company where every single person in the company is friendly and down to earth and chill and eager to help and wants to learn and wants to grow across the entire company. We had someone start last week and they said, oh, I met people in my department. They're great. And the fact that I was able to say, wait till you meet everybody else across the whole company, because everybody is just as great. And when people join our culture and they're immersed in that and they realize the person on my left is awesome, the person on my right is awesome, so I'm going to be awesome, and we're going to propel that forward. Suddenly I go to work and I look around at all these people and I'm like, wow, this is a company I love and I love who I work with and our culture is so special. And that was really challenging to get because not everybody fits that vibe and not everybody fits that culture. But when you assemble the dream team, when you achieve that, it's like making a good sports team, right? You can have one good player on paper, another good player on paper, but when they get on the court, can they all play together? We've assembled a dream team where every person beside you makes you better. And I think when I look at Elite Digital overall, why do we deliver better work? It's because we have amazing people who are so determined to help the person beside them, help their client, and constantly push for greatness.
Right. I think, how everybody wants a dream job in their life. You've created a dream empire and you've employed other people and given them their dream jobs as well. So I think it's a huge shout out to what you're doing. And I'm enjoying this conversation so much. But we need to move on to the next topic as well because we're short on time.
I know it.
To all the entrepreneurs listening, building a business is a journey filled with challenges, but each step you take brings you closer to turning your vision into a reality. Celebrate the small wins, learn from the setbacks, and keep your focus on bigger picture. Innovation and resilience are your greatest allies. Stay determined, think creatively, and remember that every great business was once just an idea nurtured with unwavering belief and hard work. We've covered some fascinating insights so far, from Robert's entrepreneurial journey to the transformative role of AI in marketing. Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll dive into the importance of building a strong community culture in business. Stay tuned.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Four billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
connect and recharge,
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back, listeners. Let's continue our conversation with Robert Burko by exploring the role of company culture in shaping businesses' success and creating a thriving team environment. So now let's quickly talk about the marketing strategies and how important they are, especially with the integration of AI in today's time.
Yeah, absolutely. So right off the bat, everyone should hear this.
Right.
Fail to plan, plan to fail. It's that simple. If you jump into something and people get excited, right? I want to start running ads today. These are the great tactics. Don't. Stop and start with a winning strategy, okay? Right. You need a playbook. I love sports analogies. If a football team gets on the field and doesn't have a playbook, they're just going to be bumping into each other. It's not going to go well. Know what your goals are. Know what your roadmap is. Tell me where you want to be a year from now, 3 years from now. Tell me how you're going to get there. Really nail down that strategy, because that becomes your North Star. Right. And anytime I talk to an entrepreneur who really can't succinctly tell me, here's my strategy, again, here's my unique value proposition, here's my target audience, I say, great, you're just jumping into the tactics. And tactics without strategy is not how you're going to get there. And you also need to understand how to sell your product. Right? A lot of times these days, entrepreneurs may sell something, but what they don't realize is what they're actually selling is the meaning and story behind it. Right. It's the Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen sort of story. Yeah. It's not about buying the pen.
It's the experience that you're buying.
What is the pen doing for you? What is that experience? Why is someone buying my product? How do they feel after they buy my product? Is our company socially responsible and doing good things in the world? You need to understand who you are in the big picture to make sure that what you're doing, the playbook that you're running, ladders up to your strategy. Otherwise, you're going to be veering off in different directions, wondering why you're never getting to your destination. I tell my team all the time, we have gifted people on our team. But if we all jump in the canoe and everyone paddles really hard in different directions, we're just a bunch of people spinning in a circle in the middle of the lake. Right. But if everyone understands what our strategy is and where we're going, and we all paddle as hard, but in one direction, we fly there. And then really special things happen. But if you are an entrepreneur and you don't have your team in the canoe all go in the same direction, then you're probably wondering why you're getting dizzy.
Right.
And the answer is simply you're lacking the strategy to get everybody paddling the same direction.
That's a great analogy, first of all. You know how artificial intelligence, it's reshaping industries, right? And marketing is no exception. So allowing for unprecedented personalization, and it's letting people use their efficiency in campaigns as well, right? How do you see AI transforming the marketing industry, and how do you think it will play a role in the future as well?
So it's going to transform every industry.
Okay.
The world as we know it, and I've been doing this for a very long time. I've seen
that's a big statement.
It's a big statement. I've seen. I remember, when the internet was new, I was like, this is going to change everything. I remember when social media was new, I said, this is going to change everything.
Right.
When the blockchain was new, I said, this is going to change everything. This is going to be a seismic shift of epic proportions. And I will tell you, I am so excited about it. I love AI. I'm embracing it. I recently taught a course at my company on prompt engineering because I am deep into AI, because I think in a few years, there's going to be two types of companies: those that embrace AI and those that are out of business.
Right.
And those are that's who's going to exist. So it's not should I, can I, will I? You must. You have to know what this is. You can't be looking at it saying AI is this scary thing. And I always tell people it's the power of yet. Don't tell me you don't know AI. Tell me you don't know AI yet. Don't tell me you don't know how it's going to help your marketing strategies. Say, I don't know how it's going to help my marketing strategies yet. This is not an optional thing. You have to learn it. And it's going to be exciting like any new tool in our toolbox. And I've been doing this for so long. I remember the early versions of Photoshop when suddenly things I was doing pixel by pixel, I could do easily. Right. So, I remember, spell check, words used to not be underlined. And when you were typing a document, this is going to make me sound really old. But either way, now, I'm not that old, everybody. But now they are. But I remember when these tools came out, that it was exciting. Some people were nervous. They embraced it. They didn't embrace it.
Yeah.
But I think once you embrace it, it's really powerful. And what's really cool about AI is suddenly everybody can have this assistant or like a sparring partner that they could brainstorm with. I have AI open all day long. I will throw an idea at it and say, challenge me on this. And I get the challenge back right away and it reframes my thinking. I can say, let's brainstorm ideas. So I think it's going to change the industry in an exciting way. Right. But I don't think it's so disruptive that suddenly marketing agencies don't exist, because like any new tool, it's only as good as the person whose hands it's in.
Right.
So yes, maybe now people are excited. I can create an image and a prompt. Well, we always had stock photography. Getting the image wasn't a hard thing, but I have brilliant creative members on my team who, what is the image? What is the storytelling? Why are we showing it? What is the copy?
Right.
So I think it's going to change the way we approach work.
Right.
I think it's going to be an exciting shift. And I think the people who embrace it, the ones who really understand it, are going to get a tremendous benefit in terms of efficiency and knowledge and growth. And it's an amazing thing because I mentioned I have kids at home. My daughter says she needs help with math. I don't remember how to do long division, but you know what? I'm going to ask AI, how do I teach my daughter how to do long division? And guess what? Now I'm a math teacher. Here we go.
I think a lot of people, and especially young entrepreneurs, they are scared of AI because they think it'll replace a lot of humanization. But I don't think that's ever possible, because no matter, it's just about how you're using that AI and how you're making the best out of it, right? So now let's talk about the soul of any organization. It's the culture. It's the people. How important do you think a culture of an organization is in its journey to success?
Critically important beyond belief. So, I started this company, again, I mentioned I was a team of one. I had to do everything. Right. And the problem with being a team of one is you have to do everything, and it's hard to be great at everything, right? I tried to know just enough to be dangerous, but as I started working with other people, suddenly we got better and better. My creative team are gifted creatives. My marketing team are gifted marketers. My development team are gifted developers. I now surround myself with people who are better at their craft than I will ever be, and I love them for it. But the culture of the company is the most important thing, because if you have the right culture, if you have the right vibe, everybody gets better. Okay. So it's not each individual working together. It's life is a team sport. Everybody's working together. And what I've learned over the years is if you have one toxic person in your company, just one, it could unravel the benefit of 10 really awesome people.
Right. It comes tumbling down.
Absolutely. Yeah. So and again, I didn't always know this, right? I sometimes looked at people and said, oh, they're really good at what they do. So I could turn a blind eye to this. No. And I know that. I know I used to do that. But what I now know is you can't turn a blind eye to it, because a company is a living being. It has a culture, it has a vibe, it has an energy. And if everybody feels a positive energy, good ththings are going to happen. So you can't have negativity. And, we do a lot with HR to recruit really, really talented people. But when we're looking at them, we do look at their resume. I want to know your skills. I want to know your education. Right. But when we interview you, we're doing a vibe check. And if you have a resume that is glorious, but you fail our vibe check, you're not the right person for us. Right. I would sooner take someone with a less impressive resume who I know is going to gel with the team and fit in great and make everybody better than I will someone who has an amazing resume who I'm like, I don't know if you're going to vibe with everybody. So that culture is so important. We do a thing at Elite. It's called the Elite House Cup.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, so we do a thing called the Elite House Cup. It's so fun. So I grew up like going to like camps and day camps and overnight camps. So I like bringing some of that into the fold with me. Lindsay, who's my partner, she also grew up going to camp. Michelle grew up going to camp. So we like bringing this to the table. So everybody at Elite is on one of 4 different House Cup teams. Took this from Harry Potter. One of 4 different House Cup teams. Yeah. And every month and every quarter, we do these House Cup games. Egg drops, water balloon tosses, and we do it virtually too. So if you're not in the office, at the end of every month, we do a virtual House Cup challenge, trivia games, name that tune. We do all these things, and throughout the year, everybody earns points for their House Cup team. And then at our holiday party in December is the grand finale, which is so exciting. But suddenly it means at Elite, you not only have the department that you're in,
right,
but you also have a separate team, which is your House Cup team. Right. So we get this awesome cross-pollination and this fun competitive nature. Yeah. So when I think about our culture and, people are taking pride in their team and we're playing these games, culture is shared experiences, and Elite House Cup is creating shared fun experiences for our teams on a regular and ongoing basis, which does really cool things to the vibe of the company.
Perfect. I think I love this idea so much that right after this podcast, I'm going to go run to my manager. I'm going to tell him, let's implicate this in our company as well. A different version of it, of course. But yes, to all our listeners, a thriving company culture is the cornerstone of lasting success. It's not just about having the right policies or perks. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued, connected, and driven by a shared purpose. Mutual respect, open communication, and a clear vision can transform a workplace into a community. Remember, your culture's strength is reflected in your team's strength. Invest in your people. Watch your business flourish. Now let's talk about what would you suggest as the top strategies for small businesses to optimize their marketing for sustainable growth in the coming years?
So great question. So I think optimize is the key word. And I think what's nice about digital marketing is you get so much data. Okay. Right. I love it. And I've done traditional marketing. I've been part of campaigns when we sent out a flyer and then I was sitting there going, who looked at the flyer? Yeah. Who went to the website from the flyer? Did they throw the flyer out right away? And I didn't know. Right. And the not knowing really bugged me. Right. We just did all this time and effort. And now I don't know if this worked. Yeah. So with digital, I'm a data geek. Okay. We have a lot of analysts. We do a lot of studying of the data because I believe data tells a story.
Yes.
And I think for any small business owner, if you are not looking at the data to see what is working, I want to do more of it. What is not working, I want to stop. Right. You are missing everything in your marketing strategies because the data is there. If you're running a search marketing campaign, you could see what keywords are triggering things that lead to a sale. You could see what you're spending money on that's not. Right. And yet it still blows my mind that I'll ask an entrepreneur, how often are you looking at this data? And they'll say once a month, or I don't really understand it. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Right. I spoke to one entrepreneur a little while ago where he showed me his Google Ads account. And I went in 2 seconds. Let's say he sold widgets. Right. Okay. And I went in 2 seconds and I looked at what searches he was spending money on. And free widgets was one of his top terms. Right. And I said, hey, do you give away your product for free? And he said, no, why would I give my product for free? I said, well, you're spending a chunk of your marketing budget on free widgets. I have a crazy idea for you. Why don't you stop doing that? Why don't you say, don't bid on the keyword free, add that as a negative keyword, and all the money that you're just wasting on free widgets, put that into the terms that are converting and watch what happens to your sales. So the number one thing I always tell people is follow the data. And if you're sitting there saying, but I don't understand it, then do what I said before. You don't understand it yet. There's tons of courses. You could ask AI, what does this data mean? You can watch a YouTube video. This is not a different language. Right. Maybe it seems foreign, but it's only foreign until you take a hot minute to learn it. Yeah. And once you learn it and once you understand it, the keys to how you can maximize every dollar you spent reveal itself in glorious fashion. and you will wonder what you were doing before you did that.
Right, just to simplify what you said, it's just about going back and evaluating and analyzing what did work and what did not work. And you need to realize when to stop doing what did not work, right? Else you'll be just wasting time, energy, resources, everything.
Absolutely. What is going well? Lean in harder. What is not going well? Stop. Okay?
Right.
Google doesn't need your money on free widgets.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
So if you want to maximize your results, maximize your conversion rate, right? Increase your ROAS, all the phrases we use to say, if you spend $1 on marketing, we want you to get back the most amount of money. The answer's in the data. It's good. Start with an idea, right? Have a hypothesis. Say, here's what I think is going to happen.
Right.
We do A/B testing on everything. So A/B testing is, don't have one horse in the race, have multiple horses in the race. Don't put out one ad, put out 3 ads with 3 different things you think may work and see which one does better.
Right.
But when you systematically measure which one does better, horse A wins the race, horse B and C, sorry, you are done. You're out of the race. I'm going to lean in harder here and make 2 more theories on why this worked. When you're constantly trying to iterate and asking yourself what work that I should do more and what should I stop, suddenly your marketing engine gets better and better and better.
Right.
I always tell clients, our secret sauce isn't the launching of the campaign. We do all this work to launch a campaign. That's the beginning of the journey. That's not the end of the journey.
Right.
Once it's up and running, we measure it. I always tell everybody, a good idea is not a good idea because I say it's a good idea. A good idea is because we can put it in market and systematically measure that this idea outperforms that idea. So for every entrepreneur, if you are not looking at your data or understanding how to learn about what your data means, you have a huge blind spot in how you could be more successful.
Right. I think that's a great eye-opener for a lot of people, because a lot of people that I also personally know in my life, they run away from data and they think that maybe someone else will handle it, or maybe they hire people who handle it. But you will not understand the essence of your own business if you don't do it yourself, right? So I think as an entrepreneur, there are some things that you need to do yourself. Even though you hire people, you need to focus on things that matter, that will grow your business. And I think what you said, I think it's a great strategy for analyzing. So kudos to you.
Thank you. And don't get me wrong, if you could hire an analyst and say, I always say raw data is great, but what we care about is the story behind the data.
Right.
I don't have any clients who are like, send me pages of Excel files of random data.
Right.
They don't want that.
Right.
We want to turn raw data into insights so
That's
we can
relevant.
turn insights into action. And that's the key goal. And if you could have someone tell you what those insights are, great. But if you're an entrepreneur sitting there like I was when I was younger saying, I can't go hire all these people,
Right.
take the time to understand the data
Right.
because you are trying to solve a puzzle. And if you're not looking at the data, you're trying to solve a puzzle without looking at the pieces. And that's going to be harder.
Right. So, is there any one advice you'd like to give to all the people that are listening to you and who are just starting up and who have a lot of enthusiasm but don't know where to start from? What advice would you give to them?
Honestly, first of all, I would come back to say, make sure whatever you're doing, you love it.
Right.
I think if you don't love it, it's hard to get out of bed every morning and say, quitting is not an option. I'm going to do this every day. So follow your passion. I think that's super important. If you're going to do something thinking, oh, well, it's going to make me rich, but I don't love it, it's the wrong thing. Follow your passion is super important, but then understand the journey ahead is not going to be easy. So don't go into it thinking it's easy. But like I was saying before, if everything is a learning opportunity, especially when you're just starting out, you don't have all the answers. If everything is a learning opportunity, there are no failures. Everything is making you better. Everything is making you stronger for the journey ahead. Then you are going to set yourself on a path where you may fall, you may stumble, but eventually you're going to get to where you're going and it's all going to be worth it.
Perfect. I think I personally learned a lot from you, and I hope all the listeners did as well. Thank you so much for Robert for gracing us with your presence, and it was a pleasure hosting you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
In today's episode, we had the pleasure of speaking with Robert Burko, a true innovator in digital marketing. We explored key insights into navigating the marketing landscape, strategies for small business growth, and the exciting potential of AI. A big thank you to our partners for their invaluable support in making this podcast possible. To our listeners, be sure to tune in to our official website, www.CanadianSME.ca, and subscribe to Canadian SME Small Business Magazine for more insights that can help you elevate your business. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in next episode.